Hey guys, welcome to the part 3, and in the part 3 is divided into two, which is the part 1 I've already uploaded. Go and check that out, and this is the part 2 of the part 3, and the rest of the parts will be uploaded. And yeah, let's just get started. This is a very important part of this chapter, you guys, the reign of terror. The period from 1793 to 1794 is referred to as the Reign of Terror. Why is this referred to as Reign of Terror? Like, what's the reason? Robespierre followed. Robespierre is the person who found the Jacobins Club or the Saint Jacobin Convent, and whoever he saw as an enemy, whether it be their ex-nobles, their clergy, or the members of the other political parties, even the members of his own party who didn't agree with his method, were arrested and imprisoned, and they were even tried with a revolutionary disagreement, which is tribunal means disagreement. If the court found them guilty, they were guillotined. Guillotine means their heads will be chopped off, like they'll be beheaded. So let me tell you guys again. Robespierre followed a policy of severe control. Whoever he saw as being enemies, whether of the republic, whether it be the ex-nobles or the clergy or the members of other political parties, even the members of his own parties who did not agree with his methods, were arrested, imprisoned, and then they were tried by a revolutionary tribunal. Tribunal means disagreement. It's like that. So if the court found them guilty, they were guillotined. Guillotine means I'll show you guys that. But guillotine is a device consisting of two poles and a blade with a blade with which a person is beheaded. It was said that it was painless and it's more easier way to kill a large number of people. So it was named after guillotine who invented the guillotine. Okay. Yeah, so let me show you the picture. So this is the guillotine, you guys. They use this to chop the heads off, and I'm sure you'll have seen it on some movies or stuff. Look at this. When they leave this rope, it just comes straight up and chop their heads off. And this person is like cleaning, and this person is holding the head. This all makes sense, Let's just go to the chapter now. Let me tell again, the guillotine is a device consisting of two poles and a blade with which a person is beheaded. It was named after Dr. Guillotine who invented it. And Robespierre government issued laws placing maximum ceiling on wages and prices. Meat and bread were rationed. Peasants were forced to transport their grains to cities and sell it at prices fixed by the governments. The use of more expensive white flour was forbidden. All citizens were required to eat the plain digalite equality bread. Digalite means the bread which is made out of whole wheat, and they are saying that the bread which is made out of the white flour, which is the white flour means it's like maida, it's like all-purpose flour, should not be eaten. They're saying equality in bread, but that's not even fair. Equality was also sought to be practiced through the forms of speech and address. Instead of the traditional Monsieur, which is Sir, and Madame, and which is so-called Madam, all French men and women were henceforth citizen. Citizen is it's just citizen. It's citizen. Okay, they're just citizen. They're not Sir and Madam right now after this law. And churches were also shut down, and the buildings were converted into barracks or offices. Barracks is nothing but like the place where all the soldiers live. So they thought that there was some way of inequality, and then they, because of the meat and bread, they were rationed. It's like ration means they can only buy a particular amount of bread. They can't buy like 20 loaves of bread. They can only buy two, means they can only buy two. However money they give, they can only buy two. So the amount of bread that you can buy were ration, and the peasants were forced to sell and transport their grain to cities where they sell it with the prices fixed by the government. If for example you are taking a bread which is worth 100 rupees, and then the government is telling you have to sell it for 20 rupees, and you have no other way, you have to sell it for 20 rupees because you have to, that's all. So the use of more expensive and white flour was forbidden. All citizens were required to eat the plain digalite. The plain bread was only used to the plain bread, or the maida bread was forbidden to eat. They say it's some way it's equality bread, which equality bread is only made of whole wheat. Everyone in the city, everyone should only eat this whole wheat bread, and they should not eat the plain bread. They should only eat the equality bread, which is made of whole wheat. And the equality was also sought to be practiced through forms of speeches and addresses too. And instead of the traditional Monsieur, which is Sir, they do not need to call everyone sir and madame, which is madam. And all French people were henceforth cities citoyen or citoyenne. Cito, that's it. They're just citizens. They're just citizens. They're not madam or sir. There is no need to call that. And all the churches were also shut down. So the church, they were hence turned into barracks or offices. Barracks are the places where soldiers, like a group of soldiers are there, and offices are normal. And Robespierre pursued his policies so relentlessly that even his supporters began to demand moderation. Finally, he was convicted by a court in July 1794 and arrested on the next day and sent to guillotine. Okay, that's kind of heartbreaking, but he deserves it. He did it too much, right? So Robespierre pursued his policy. So he the the privileges that he got, everybody respected him at a point. So he took it so relentlessly that even his supporters were like, this is so unfair, we need some moderation of your policies. And finally he was convicted by a court in July 1794 and arrested on the next day, and then he was sent to the guillotine and his head was chopped off. All right. So this is the guillotine place, you guys, and all of the people will cheer because that much anger they had. When the heads are chopped off, all the people literally cheer so much. Look at this. This is the place where it happens, and yeah, these are all the people's waiting for the person to die. Yeah. So now we're gonna see about the directory rules in France, and then we're almost done. We'll go to the next part too. So this is so interesting, guys. I mean, even though it's history, take it as a story and not as history. History is so cool, right? So let's just see the directory rules of France. So the fall of the Jacobin government allowed the wealthier middle class to seize power. A new constitution was introduced by which denied to vote for non-property sections of the society. It provided for 2 elected legislative councils. Then these appointed a directory and an executive made up of 5 members, and this was meant as a safeguard against the concentration of power in one-man executive under the Jacobins. However, the directors often clashed with the legislative councils, who then sought to dismiss them. The political instability of the directory paved the way to a rise of a military director, Napoleon Bonaparte. So what they're saying here is Jacobin allowed the wealthier middle class to get powers. Which is the Jacobin government allowed the wealthier middle class to seize power, like take the powers to like be the executive or the judiciary or the like that, like to seize powers. And the new constitution was introduced in which they denied the vote to non-property sections of the area. When the new constitution was formed, it was introduced and it was denied the vote for the non-property sections of the society, and it provided for 2 elected legislative councils. It provided how many? 2 elected legislative councils, and this then appointed in a directory and an executive made up of 5 members. An executive is made up of 5 members. Remember this is a very important point. And these then appointed a directory. So there were 2 legislative councils. There are 2 elected legislative councils. Then there is these then appointed a directory which is an executive which is made up of 5 members, and then this was meant as a safeguard against the concentration of power in one man executive as under Jacobins. And then, however, the directors often clashed with the legislative councils, who then sought to dismiss them. So if they clash with the legislative councils, they will dismiss them. And the political instability of the directory paved the way to the rise of the military director, whose name is Napoleon Bonaparte. So he is a very important part of this. The rest of this is just about him. His name is Napoleon Bonaparte, and this paved the way to a rise of a military director, which is the Napoleon Bonaparte. And through all these changes in the form of government, the ideals of freedom, of equality before law, of fraternity remain inspiring ideals that motivated political movements in France and the East Europe during the following century. So yeah, they're saying that throughout all these changes in the government, the the idea of freedom and the equality before law and the liberty and the fraternity, which remained very inspiring, and the ideas that motivated the political France and the East Europe during the following centuries. This is just like a small, like it's not that important, and this is a very important point. The hereditary rules of France. So and make sure you know the name about the Napoleon Bonaparte. And yeah, we'll be learning about did women have a revolution in the next video. So make sure you go and check that out too. And if you haven't seen the previous parts, go and check that out too. This is a very interesting lesson. Even if it's big, it's very interesting, right? In my opinion, I really love this lesson, the French Revolution. So make sure you go watch the part 2. And thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more. Bye.